Okay. Okay, so welcome to the Houston ISD Alternative Class Department meeting. We're just going to be basically talking about the new changes coming to that department and how we are going to implement them. So, um, um, okay, so what are the changes being made? First of all, behavioral management will be added to all schools. A form will be put in all school servers so that students can fill out that form if they want to join special education or behavioral management. They just fill out that form and then an alternative class manager will see it and kind of assess them. Students must have an IEP, which is an individualized evaluation plan, made, or they must have a behavioral intervention plan. An IEP is generally for special education, and a BIP is generally for behavioral management. And this is just to help students work towards their goals in special education and behavioral management. So we will be having meetings monthly for specific children to make sure that they are progressing in their classes, whether that's social education or behavioral management. And the meetings should include the alternative class manager, the behavioral management or social education teacher, and the guidance counselor of the school. If they are not progressing in the classes that they're in, then they should get switched. For example, if a special education student is not progressing, but they are showing more behavioral issues, then they will be moved to behavioral management. And if a behavioral management student was like showing issues of learning accommodations, they need learning accommodations, or they're just having certain issues, then they could get moved to SE. Or if they're not just making any progress, period, then they would move to general education classes. And then the alternative class manager would make the behavioral intervention plan and the individualized evaluation plan. An alternative class manager there's going to be one for each school, and we're going to kind of decide on who's going to what school in a later date. I mean, okay. So here's just you know, kind of example of a behavioral intervention plan. They can look very different, but this is generally just what it looked like. So you have the behavior right here, what is always worrying on in class, and then you're trying to figure out why is the student doing what they're doing. So in this case, it's because she seeks attention, she gets a little attention from her friends, and she has very few friends. So the desired behavior is just what you would like Liz to do, or what you would like the student to do instead of the behavior that they're doing now. This one says that they want Liz to raise her hand and ask for permission to speak and wait on the teacher to call her. And moves. So, what is a plan that you're going to be using to kind of help this behavior? That is the proactive plan. So, Liz is going to use cool points charts that allow her to self monitor her burning out, and the chart will be checked each hour for reinforcement. Each time that Liz does not blurt out, she will be given praise, a verbal praise. What is a reactive plan? The reactive plan is basically what happens if the child is doing that behavior that is not the desired behavior. So it says that if she begins to blurt out, she will be ignored the first 2 times. And then after that, she will be corrected by the teacher and the teacher will remind her of important behavior. Let me send this link really quickly. Okay. Reinforcers, just what you're going to do to either encourage that desired behavior or what you're going to do to make sure that, Liz is, or the student is staying on task and doing what they're supposed to be doing. So for this one, it says iPad stalls in a minute. And then the data collection, you want to have a data collection of any sort to make sure that the student is progressing and you can see the progress. So for right here is cool point charts that are used for blurting out in its graph. You can also use Google Forms as a data collection. So individualized education program or also an individualized evaluation plan. It can stand for two different things, but they do the same things. So this is a legally binding document that is assigned to students with a disability that impacts their learning while at school. So if a student has any type of disability that will impact their learning, then that's where they usually have a IEP, or sometimes they have a 504 plan. Those are two different things. The purpose of an IEP is to provide learning accommodations and also just make sure that students are benefiting from their time at school. Who writes the IEP? For here, it's going to be the alternative class manager and the guidance counselor. They're going to work together, but it's usually the case manager. We don't have case managers. The alternative class manager is going to be the the case manager. So per se. And then who gets an IEP? Oh wait, let me go back. Who gets an IEP? Students who have a disability that affects their learning. We just went over that. This is kind of the process for in real life IEPs, but it is not how we're gonna do it. So this is kind of the pre-referral, the referral, identifying why or what they might need on their IEP, and then seeing if they're actually eligible for an IEP. And you're reading the IEP, you're starting to put it into action, and then you're reevaluating that IEP and making sure that it's working for that particular student. So, how will the IEP process work here? So, the general education teacher will recognize behavior or issues with learning in a student. And then the general education teacher is going to, is going to speak to the alternative class manager or the guidance counselor. And then that general education teacher will start to write a recommendation for the students that need to be observed. The recommendation can be something as little as, you know, I think this student may need extra help, or it can be just like a whole list of going into detail about what that student may need extra assist with. Let's see. So the guidance counselor will observe the student in their classroom and identify what in particular they may need or what they may have issues with. And then an IEP or BIP will be created for that student and it's going to start to, you know, go into plan or progress. Citizens will either be moved to behavioral management or special education. And then Monthly meetings can occur for that student to make sure that their needs are being met, or they can have a yearly meeting to just ensure that they still have the goals set, or that they just really are ensuring that everything is, up to par, basically. Moving on. So 504 plans versus really an IEP plan. We're just going to talk about how they're unique, quote unquote, and how they are not so unique. Okay. So an IEP is required under IDEA or IDEA. It is required. Both of them are required and they're mandated by laws. So a 504 and IEP, they're both required. A qualification based on an IEP is a qualification based on the 13 disability categories, which there is more than 13, but they go into really um details, really big details. An IEP is formally written and it has learning goals and objectives, what the student personally wants to evolve in, I guess, and what they don't. And then it also has mechanisms for conflict resolution, and the state receives funding for eligible students. That's basically that's specifically for the IEP. And then the 504 plan, it is required under the Rehabilitation Act, and it is a qualification based on a record of impairment. So for 504 plan, students will have to go to the doctor or they will have to go to see a specialist to ensure that they actually meet the plan. And it's not mainly school based, it's more, professional based. It describes services that alter learning environments for students, not for teachers, but just for students. Let me see. So students may need to be moved to special rooms or just to a different room for certain activities or just testing. And parents pay for an outside evaluation to ensure that they meet this plan. And there's no formal plan written for a 504 plan. And states do not receive funding for students for a 504 plan. So they're both reviewed yearly or monthly. They reassess students every 3 years, and then parents can resolve disputes via mediation or any or lawsuit. So if schools re, like if schools refuse to accommodate students, then they can be sued or they can just go to court. And I don't know what happened to that song. Why did it always happen? Okay, we're gonna go over an IEP really quickly. Just need to, okay. Let me find it. Oh, that's the VIP. Okay, we already went over that. Okay, actually won't be doing that. Okay. So, alternative, no, go on. So, alternative forms. Like I said earlier, we're going to have forms for alternative classes and the behavioral management class. It's already, I already have it created. I just need to put it in you know, I need to put it in the servers. So, Alternative class managers will have access to this form, and it's where students that join our school district can apply for classes. Not really apply, but if they know that they need special education, then they would go into that class and get they would apply. Okay, I'm trying to exit out so I can show the form. So all alternative class managers for all schools will have access to this form. And they will still need a BIP. Students will still need a BIP or an IB to ensure, that they are getting the accommodations they need. And okay, I think I need to resume. Okay, there we go. So here is the form. You can just see it's a class change. Students need to fill out their role play name. They need to fill out their Discord name and then what school that they attend. And then they would fill out what classroom they will be in. So it's either behavioral management or special education. I'm just gonna fill this out. Oh no, I can't fill it out. It's gonna show. Hold on. Okay, so let's see. Okay, here we go. Okay, I didn't know I was muted. So after they fill out what classes they would like to be transferred to, they go on to telling like us about them. So what are their triggers? Something that can cause them to go into like a tantrum or just shut down or can cause them to overstimulate. And then it has what are some things that may help them calm down. It can be going into a calm corner or just going out for a walk or watching videos, something. It can be anything like that. Listening to music. Some accommodations, students aren't really required to know, but if they do know, then that would be helpful to put. And then what are their goals? If they have goals, which students should have goals, but if they don't, then they can go to a guidance counselor or an alternative class meeting alternative class manager to kind of help them create those goals. And then lastly, just asking if they are able to attend the monthly meeting or the yearly meeting. And then that is it. Let me go back. Okay. And yep. And we are done with this meeting. So if you have any questions, you can ask now. I know it was a lot, and we still kind of have more to go over, but we're not going to go over it in this meeting. So if you have any questions, you can ask now, and if not, you are dismissed. If you ever think of any questions to ask, then you can message me on Discord or you can email me, and it's on the screen. Now, I can also put it in the chat if I need to. Okay, and we are going to end this meeting. if no one has any questions.